morning, everybody. This is Jennifer Maurer, the Executive Director of the NAIFA-New York chapter. I am here with our president, Paul Shaka.
Hello,
Hi,
everybody.
Paul.
Hello, good
And
morning.
everybody would just want to wish you a happy summer. It is sweltering out here in Arizona. There's no getting around it. And they had storms yesterday. It did absolutely nothing, but just created a hot, humid heat vent. But we have an enormous amount of things to talk about today. And so I wanted to just kind of open the floor to Paul just to talk about we closed out legislative session. We our lobbyists, like all of the lobbyists in Albany, really didn't get to do a lot of work because of the budget and the budget
Yeah.
delays. But that's not to say that we weren't having meetings and fundraisers. And so, do you want to just give like a minute or two synopsis about where we are with our legislative efforts, and we're just preparing now for next year?
Yeah, thanks, Jen. Yeah, so it's been an interesting year because the budget, as Jen said, the budget has really been the driving the bus. It's been very difficult to get in front of members of the legislature. We've had some success. We have picked our spots and gotten in front of some people, but most issues of any relevance were put on the shelf until after the budget. It was all about the budget. So, but with our awesome lobbyists at GT, Greenberg Traurig, Eileen Hayes, and Michael Murphy, anytime there's an opportunity to meet with a member or a member of the department of DFS, we're all over it. And there are times when, whether it be myself, running up to Albany, or some of our team up north going to Albany, we'll gladly do it. We are doing it.
100%. And there's been a bunch of fundraisers. I think our members don't always realize that fundraisers are an important opportunity for one-on-one conversations. And,
Yeah.
When we talk about your voice at the table, it's not just a proverbial mention. You literally have yourself sitting and talking with Carl Heastie, or sitting
Yeah.
talking with other members of Congress of the state, correct?
Sure. And it's funny. That's why I love meeting members. When I say members, I mean members of our organization of NAIFA, our membership, because we all have the same issue. All the issues we share, they're all shared.
Yep.
There's very few, if any, things that it's not relevant to my practice or not relevant to yours. Generally speaking, it's a shared. These are shared issues. So that's why that's what makes it so so important, but special for us to go and work for the members, right? And also, frankly, we love it when some of our members will come up to Albany with us, or down to Washington D.C., spend some time and help us out. So we love that. So that's always encouraged.
And I always tell members, it's storytelling, right?
Yeah.
This is an opportunity for you to explain. I remember Senator Breslin was my senator back in the 90s, and he would tell me, Jennifer, I have to be an inch thick on every single issue in the world. I don't have the ability or time to go deep. So I need members like legislative days or in district meetings like we have in August. I need to meet with people and connect with them. And so I think members think it's intimidating to meet with them, but you have a great relationship with Stephen Stern, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's definitely a valuable friend to the industry. I mean, frankly, he's an estate plan attorney by trade, so he understands what happens at ground level. But also, I think that it's so important to get members to, as you say, tell stories, because this is not the type of thing where it's sort of like where other political issues or whatnot, where there's, it's about dollars and cents necessarily, and, it's budgets, and yeah, that's all great. But it's about those things that happen to you as agent advisors with your clients at the grassroots level. Those are the stories that they just they don't hear about. And they've told me personally, I've had meetings with members of the department and members of the legislature where they told me, and I'll paraphrase, Paul, hey, we do all this stuff up here, but we don't see what happens downstream. And that's, I think, so it's valuable to them, and they tell me that. So that's why I always encourage any of our members to, if they want to, jump aboard and come up to Albany or down to Washington, that's more than welcome.
Wonderful. And we're going to turn our attention to two projects with the regulatory offices, right? 187. But I'll briefly mention that on June 16th, there was a hearing for the NABIP Nationals lawsuit against the Department of Health, trying to correct and fix the process for reducing commissions for agents. And I think
Yeah.
this is a great opportunity to talk about partnerships that we have members in other organizations that we work very closely with.
Right. We have been doing that. We've been reaching out to other organizations who might be more focused on some of those healthcare issues, health insurance and healthcare issues than we are. It's one of those things where we at NAIFA, we're known for, if you hear NAIFA, you think life insurance. That's immediately what people think, right? And that's true. But the health insurance world is another huge part of the landscape. And many of our members are duly licensed, and of course, and that their practice reflects that. So if we can, move the needle in any way on the health side as well, we're doing everything we can to do so. And we think partnering with some of these organizations is the way to do that.
Agreed. And so moving the needle, we have moved our needle on Reg 187.
Yeah.
It is in the hands of Lyconi, isn't that correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
That I'm excited about, because that's been it's been a grind. I think it's
Yes.
probably a couple of years now since we started this effort to hopefully amend parts of this rule. And we also thought, and it's so important, it's one thing for NAIFA as an organization to have a position on something, but the department, let us know, and it can't happen without the insurance companies. It can't happen, right?
Right.
Because every
Yep.
insurance company not only, of course, has to abide by the rule, but they also have an interpretation of that rule that they work within. So it's not, there's not consistency necessarily in the application of the rule at the agency level. That being said, like Coney, obviously representing the insurance companies as we do the agents, is the perfect partner. And they're a great team led by Laura Evangelista, and we're doing a lot of joint work, but principally right now we're putting together a message, a unified message for 187. So we're hoping to get that done sooner rather than later.
Awesome. Dues dollars at work. That's exactly what we're
Yeah.
investing it in. And our next project will be turning to, we don't have a lot to talk about right now, but turning to reenacting the long-term care partnership with the Department of Health that dates back to 2018. COVID, I think, and change of staff kind of put that on pause, but we want to kind of reconnect with the folks, and the folks at Greenberg Traurig are doing that.
Yeah, no, they are reestablishing that connection. And you're right. COVID, was a bridge and kind of a blockade to a lot of to a lot of these issues and efforts we're doing. So if we, getting this back rolling is, I think, really important, and we're doing everything we can to do that.
Awesome. Well, turning our attention from the not so effective legislature in Albany, but the very effective programs and events we have going on.
Yeah.
I'm sharing our screen to show folks we have our Elevate Your Game event. It's going to be held in two locations, upstate and downstate, as only New Yorkers understand. On September 23rd, we're going to be doing two evening happy hours, one in Buffalo, one in Rochester at the already forgetting at the Resurgence Brewing Company in Buffalo, and then in Rochester for Fairpoint. And then the next day, September 23rd, we are in your neck of the woods for our Elevate Your Game Downstate. If you want to just speak a little bit to that.
Yeah. So Yeah, this is a pretty exciting event. This is the, what is it, third annual, fourth
Third
annual?
annual.
Third
Yep.
annual. And we feel like we've been building on it every year. And what it's bringing to the forefront for members is not only the traditional advocacy messages, but also relevant content that we could all take back to our business. So, for example, in this iteration of it, we have a couple of speakers. So as you can see, Carol Golden, she'll be discussing long-term care, and that's a huge topic for our clients and for us, of course. Then we have the legislative update with Michael Murphy and myself, and Mike will give us the rundown on the ins and outs, what's going on in Albany. And then we have another estate plan focused attorney. Jen, can you go back a little
Oh,
bit?
sure. Yep.
Yeah. Uh, well, well, Brian's not going to be there, right,
Yeah.
Jen?
We're changing
So
our speaker. Yep.
yeah, who is the new one?
That's going to be Gary Altman, who's
Gary
a,
Altman. Okay. So
yep.
he'll be discussing some estate planning strategies. And then finally, the star of the show, I think, is Panos Leliadakis. He's going to discuss, and we've had him before at other events, he'll be discussing AI and AI to further our business. And it's more than just using AI to clean up an email or to do something like that. It's AI has really transformed his business as a financial advisor, and
Yes.
he goes into great depth and detail. So that's a really it's a great session. Looking
I
forward to it.
agree. I think it's important to note that Panos is a NAIFA member from Florida, so
Yes,
he
yes,
speaks from the advisor side, not just a
yep,
tech guru who
yep,
likes,
yeah. He's a
virtual
CFP, I
reality
believe.
headsets.
I believe he's a CFP. Yeah,
Correct. And so that's going to be a great program, September 23rd, September 24th. And you can find all of this information at our homepage under events. You can click down to chapter events for our schedule, or you can click right onto Elevate Your Game. And there's a button here for registering. And
right.
so as we conclude our video newsletter here for July, I just thought our last thought would be a call for leaders. I'm going to ask Paul to kind of just talk very briefly about our nominations process, but there is an online form here for someone that if you hear things that you like, we're talking about topics of high net worth and technology and program planning and legislation. We're looking for experts to join our team. We have very few spots. They're very competitive. There is a somewhat interview process, and maybe you can just speak a little bit to what our nominations committee does.
Yeah, so we meet as a committee to discuss, adding new members to the board,
Mhm.
and those board members that we like to bring in. Typically, we'd love it when they have a special, a niche, uh, skill set, because our business is so diverse, and we need to really make sure that we not only cover the generalists of the past, but also some of the new groundbreaking uh, planning strategies, etc. And when we meet, we go through it in great detail because we do have a lot of people looking to join this board. We go through their bio, we interview them, and we'd love to we'd love to hear from you guys and see if who if somebody wants to join up. And frankly, if you don't, maybe somebody who does, who might be a good fit.
Correct. Yes, absolutely. So just so everyone knows where to find this, we do send emails out, but under our About page, just click Leadership Development, and it'll bring you here to this online form. It comes directly to me, and that's really just a way of waving hi and saying, "Hey, Jennifer, I'd like to talk with you. I don't know where I fit in the organization, but our website has all kinds of information about short-term commitments, individual cohorts on leadership, upstate planning events. Maybe you have an interest in developing a long-term care, being part of a work group that's going to work with us on our long-term care legislative partnership. or a work group on regulation updates. But all that information can be found here. And of course, always you can find us at newyork.naifa.org. So with that note closing, I'll just end our newsletter with a happy summer. Hope you had a great 4th of July. Do anything special or just hang out? I'm already forgetting. 4th of July is like in the past.
Yeah, it's 5 months to Christmas. Come on, Jen.
Yeah. My sister's already got dragging her Christmas trees out, no
There you
doubt.
go.
So, all right, folks. So we will just end it here and say sign off and looking forward to seeing your registrations fly across my desk.
Thank you,
Have a
everybody. Be
good one.
well.
Bye bye.
Bye.